Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Talk Show. I'm Carla Elizondo. Inside Talk Show, it's an inside job. We're living from the inside out, not the outside in, people. Let's get it together. All right, we're continuing our reading of The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. We're on chapter 3. Let's dive right in. Chapter 3 is Opportunity Monopolized. You are not kept poor because opportunity has been taken away from you, because other people have monopolized the wealth and have put up a fence around it. You may decide not to engage in certain kinds of business, but there are other channels open to you. At different periods, the tide of opportunity moves in different directions according to the needs of the whole and to particular. Okay, let me read that again. At different periods, the tide of opportunity moves in different directions according to the needs of the whole and to the particular stage of social evolution which has been reached. Isn't that the truth? Everybody knows that with all the social media platforms and all the availability to equipment, we can all have, our own talk show. We can do anything right now. The monopolization, social currency, these social media outlets, the ability to turn some camera and lights on and have a platform, that's really what is the social want and need right now at the evolution of life. So there is an abundance of opportunity for the man or woman who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. Y'all, you know my story. I was never on social media. I was so against it. I resisted it. I was being left behind in so many ways. This is what I've always wanted to do. I've always loved to speak and perform and talk and study and learn and meet people. I love it. Clearly, Carla, being on social media was such an opportunity, but it was different. I was raised, if one can believe, before the times of the internet or cell phones or, social media outlets. When the time came, though, I will never forget 2005, 2006, Facebook, or no, actually before that, 2004, 2005, MySpace. Hello. I was like, no, want nothing to do with that. Facebook, 2005-ish, 2006. What is that? No. Instagram, I vaguely remember 2011 or 2012. What is that? No. YouTube, I loved it, but I would never be on it. TikTok, oh, hell no. You need to be on TikTok. Guess who's on TikTok? I mean, we have to go along with the times. If we resist, we'll be left behind. We've seen it so many times. So there's an abundance of opportunity for the person who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. Why are we swimming against it? For what? We're the only ones suffering. Office workers, either as individuals or as a group, are not deprived of opportunity. The workers are not being kept down by their masters, by the powers of big business and the conglomerates. As a group, they are where they are because they do things in a certain way. When they begin to do things in a certain way, the working class can become the master class. The law of wealth is the same for it as it is for all the other groups. Workers will remain where they are as long as they continue to do things as they do things. The individual worker, however, is not held down by the ignorance or the mental slothfulness of one's class. This individual can follow the tide of opportunity to riches. This book will create conscious awareness of the great secret of life. No one is kept in poverty by a shortness in the supply of riches. So no one is kept in poverty. No one's poor by a shortage because there's a lack in supply. There's plenty, there's abundance. Let's just think about it. There's parts of the world we know that lack food and nutrition. They're starving. They're dying of malnutrition. Or they don't have clean water. They don't have water to drink. Is it because there's a lack of water on the earth? Is it because there's a lack of food? No. There's an abundance. How much food? I used to work in a restaurant. We used to throw tons of food away every night. There's so much we have to throw it away or give it away. It's insane. So that's not the reason. It's not because of lack. So no one is kept in poverty by a shortness in the supply of riches. There is more than enough for all. A palace as large as the capital of Washington could be built for every family on earth from the building material available in the United States alone. Under intensive cultivation, this country could produce even wool, cotton, linen, silk, and food to clothe and feed each person in the world. The visible supply is practically inexhaustible. The physical supply is inexhaustible. Isn't that a nice, refreshing, but truthful, idea we need to start getting more involved with? Because we're told quite the opposite. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things proceed. New forms are constantly being made, and older ones are dissolving, but all are shapes assumed by one thing. There is no limit to the supply of formless stuff or original substance. The universe is made out of it. The universe is made out of it, but it was not all used in making the universe. Okay, there is no limit to the supply of formless stuff or original substance. The universe is made out of it, but it was not all used in making the universe. The spaces in, through, and between the forms of the visible universe are permeated and filled with the original substance, with the formless stuff, with the raw material of all things. 10,000 universes can still be made, and even then the supply of universal raw material will not be exhausted. Infinity. You know, if you've ever sat there and thought about life, what happens after I die? Or what would it be like to exist forever and ever and ever? When you think of infinity, doesn't it just burst your sockets? You have to be okay, I need to stop because I feel like I'm going to go crazy. We can't even grasp what infinity is, what abundance truly is, what inexhaustible supply is. But that is truly what we are surrounded in. It's us that stop that flow. It's the way we think of it, that there is a limit, that things are exhaustible, that they can run out. It's that lack. We introduce that mindset, and then that's the results we see. So let's change our thinking about this. Okay, so no person, therefore, is poor because nature is poor or because there is not enough to go around. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. Doesn't that feel good? The supply will never run short. Original substance is alive with creative energy and is constantly producing more forms. When the supply of building material is exhausted, more will be produced. When the soil is exhausted so that foodstuff and materials for clothing will no longer grow upon it, it will be renewed, or more soil will be made. When all the gold and silver have been dug from the earth, if human beings are still in such a stage of social development as to need gold and silver, more will be produced from the formless. The formless stuff responds to the needs of humans. It will not let them be without any good thing. This is true of man collectively. The race as a whole is always abundantly rich. This is true. The race as a whole is always abundantly rich. If individuals are poor, it is because they do not follow a certain way of doing things which makes the individual person rich. The formless stuff is intelligent. It is a material which thinks. It is alive and is always impelled toward more life. It is the natural and inherent impulse of life to seek to live more. It is the nature of intelligence to enlarge itself and the quality of consciousness to seek to extend its boundaries and find fuller expression. The universe of forms has been made by formless living substance. Every single thing we see on earth, every matter, solid thing, was first an unsolid, unseen, unformless thing. That's how things move to and through and into form. Perpetual law of transmutation. We learned about that yesterday. So by formless living substance throwing itself into form in order to express itself more fully. The universe is a great living presence, always moving inherently toward more life and fuller functioning. Scientists have concluded that the universe is expanding into what? They don't know. but we're always growing. We as a collective and even on a micro level, individually, I mean, and then on a macro. The universe is a great living presence. Okay, it's always for fuller functioning. Nature is formed for the advancement of life. Its motive is the increase of life. For this reason, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict himself and nullify his own works. You are not kept poor by a shortness in the supply of riches. In fact, it is a fact, which I shall demonstrate a little further on, that even the resources of the formless supply are at the command of any man or woman who will act and think in a certain way. The great secret of life is available to all. Short and sweet and beautiful. What I took from that is this formless substance that creates, penetrates, permeates every living molecule. It's like the water surrounding fish. We're in it. We can't see it. When we talk about it, we're like, what are you talking about? That's how much it is permeating, like air. Let's think about air. Where is air? Air is everywhere here on Earth. Air, oxygen. We can't see it. So that's the formless substance. It's everywhere and it's creating all the time. What makes new things happen? New ideas, put things into motion and create things. The next new vacuum cleaner. Let's think about the Dyson. Hello. Compare it to vacuum cleaners when they first were made. What'll be the next iteration of the Dyson, of the next vacuum cleaner, of hair products, of hair tools, of coffee mugs, of coffee, of cell phones? Like, we will look back at these phones and think, wow, we used to carry these big phones around. We make fun of, people back in the 80s with those huge cell phones. People will look back at our generation and laugh at how big our phones were. We might not even need phones. We'll have like an earpiece. The possibilities are endless, but the one thing is for sure, things always change. We never arrive, ever. As individuals or as a collective, we never arrive. We always grow, we always develop, we always transform into something new. The horse and carriage turned into a car. Now it's turning pretty much into a, battery powered vehicle, which then will turn into maybe, who knows? Who knows? It's pretty amazing. Anyways, like I said, I took out of that, the universe, abundance is inexhaustible. There's no end. I'm not poor, you're not poor. Wherever we lack, poor meaning wealth, physically, with our health, with our relationships, not because there's a lack. It's because of our thinking. Because there's an abundance. Just look around. There is an abundance. So if you're lacking in any area of life, be willing and open instead of sitting in the negativity of it, which is always there. Be willing to see it in a different way. Change your perspective. How can I see this differently? Where can I think differently? How can I think in a more abundant way? An infinite possibility way. Love it. Hope you're all having a wonderful week. We'll continue tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.